Hello and welcome back to the Military Time. Tonight, we bring you breaking coverage, analysis, and exclusive insight into shocking new footage. Ukraine's explosive strike on the Crimean Bridge, the lifeline between Russia and the annexed Crimean Peninsula, early on June 3, 2025 at approximately 4:44 a.m. Local time, the Security Service of Ukraine SBU carried out a highly sophisticated underwater explosion targeting the Kerch Crimean Bridge, detonating approximately 100 kilograms of explosives equivalent to TNT. According to Kiev, this was no spontaneous attack. It was months in planning by SBU operatives who covertly planted mines on the bridge's underwater supports. The SBU has released video purporting to show a powerful underwater blast, followed by debris surging from below as structural pillars shudder under the shock. While Russian authorities admit there was an explosion, they strongly contest the extent of the damage. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov claimed the bridge remained fully functional. Traffic across the bridge was briefly halted about 3 hours by official Russian reports before being reopened under strict inspection. Why is this strike so significant? First, the Kerch Bridge, spanning nearly 19 kilometers over the Kerch Strait, is not just symbolic, it's a strategic artery. Russia relies on it to transport troops, weapons, and logistical support into occupied Crimea and beyond. Ukraine, on the other hand, argues that disabling this bridge disrupts a vital Russian supply route. According to SBU Chief LT Gen. Vasyl Malyuk, the operation was personally supervised, emphasizing the bridge's legitimacy as a military target. There is no place for any illegal Russian facilities on the territory of our state, he stated. From Kiev's perspective, this hits both a symbolic and practical nerve, not only undercutting military logistics, but also quietly signaling Ukraine's capacity to conduct highly technical sabotage. Deep in contested zones, Russia, however, is pushing back on the narrative. While confirming the explosion, Moscow's official position is that the bridge was not significantly harmed, and they assert civilian traffic resumed after security checks. Analysts in Russian military and state-aligned circles suggest the attack may have involved a sea drone, although that remains speculative. From an international perspective, the timing of this attack is also telling. It follows a bold Ukrainian drone operation earlier in the week, targeting Russian strategic aviation bases deep inside Russia. Observers note that by striking both symbolic infrastructure and operational military targets, Kiev is sending a clear message to Moscow. Ukraine retains offensive capabilities and is willing to conduct daring, long-term operations. However, the full scope of the damage remains unverified. Independent verification is complicated. While satellite imagery matches the location of the Kerch Bridge, agencies like Reuters could not confirm when exactly the footage was taken or whether structural damage will lead to long-term degradation. Nonetheless, if the SBU assessment is accurate and the underwater supports are indeed severely damaged, as they claim, the bridge could be rendered vulnerable to future attacks or could impose serious repair challenges for Russia. Strategic analysts are watching closely. For Ukraine, damaging the Crimean Bridge serves not only as a military blow, but also as political leverage, keeping pressure on Russia and signaling to Western allies that Kiev has both the intent and the capability to directly challenge the Kremlin's infrastructural ambitions. Meanwhile, Moscow must now weigh the symbolic cost. This bridge is not merely infrastructure, but a centerpiece in Russia's narrative of control over Crimea. From the Kremlin's standpoint, even acknowledging the explosion could be damaging to public morale. Yet, Russian officials have chosen a more cautious narrative, admitting a disruption but denying catastrophic damage. Diplomatically, this incident could reverberate. It may complicate any future talks, especially when mixed with Ukraine's recent overtures and Russia's increasingly hardline stance. On the ground, the human cost appears limited. According to Kiev SBU claims there were no civilian casualties in this operation. The SBU underscores that they executed the mission with precision, targeting infrastructure, not people. But such operations always carry risk, especially given the bridge's dual road and rail functions and the fact that Russian civilian and military traffic both rely on it. From a technical perspective, the underwater nature of the blast suggests a high level of operational sophistication. Placing more than a metric ton of explosives beneath the waterline and successfully detonating it without alerting surveillance requires months of covert planning and arguably a degree of maritime expertise not trivial in wartime conditions. This also raises questions about Russia's underwater defenses. How were these mines not detected earlier? What does this say about Russia's ability to protect vital maritime infrastructure? This strike is part of a broader Ukrainian strategy that seems to be evolving. After initial reliance on artillery and drones, Kiev increasingly appears to be emphasizing asymmetric tactics, sabotage, and covert special operations. A blending of intelligence and force projection. The political ramifications may also ripple beyond military circles. By targeting the Kerch Bridge, Ukraine is undercutting one of Russia's most potent symbols of dominance over Crimea. It's not just a supply route. It's a piece of geopolitical propaganda, a testament to Russia's ability to connect the annexed peninsula to mainland Russia. Damaging it sends a psychological as well as physical blow. Internationally, reactions are mixed but attentive. NATO and EU partners will likely view this as further evidence that Ukraine's war capability continues to mature, with more daring and technically advanced operations. On the other hand, Moscow may use this as yet another justification for further military buildup and entrenchment, especially around Crimea. So, what's next? If the bridge has indeed sustained serious damage, Ukraine may not leave it alone. Follow-up operations could aim to further degrade the structure, especially if SBU intelligence determines Russia is attempting repairs or reinforcing underwater supports. Alternatively, even without a full collapse, the threat of instability could keep traffic constrained or under constant inspection, disrupting Russian logistics for months. For Russia, this raises the urgency of improving defensive measures, underwater sensors, patrols, counter-sabotage teams, and possibly rethinking the resilience of its maritime infrastructure. In the broader war context, this episode underlines the high-stakes nature of the conflict, where infrastructure is not just a logistics asset but a frontline. It also reaffirms that Ukraine, despite being under immense pressure, retains the initiative in certain domains, and is willing to strike at the heart of symbolic and strategic targets. That's our full breakdown of the shocking and explosive footage, Ukraine's underwater operation on the Crimean Bridge. We will continue to monitor developments closely on structural assessments, potential Russian response, and the geopolitical fallout. Thank you for watching Military Time. Stay tuned, stay informed, and we will bring you more of the latest on the conflict as it unfolds.